We're thrilled to welcome you to part one of our exciting new series, Moving Forward Practical Tips for Maintaining Independence and Simplifying Life. This four-part series is brought to you by Parkinson's Community Los Angeles, featuring insights from Dr. Mary Grace Lagasca. I'm Suzanne Johnson, a PCLA advocate. For those who don't know us, we are a nonprofit that supports families living with Parkinson's through our free education programs like this one, online and in-person support groups, social events, and more. Today's conversation is made possible by important donations from people just like you in the Parkinson's community. If you appreciate our work, please consider making a donation at pcla.org. Your donation is 100% tax deductible, so thank you in advance. We rely on your generosity to help us continue this important work. Our presenter, Dr. Mary Grace Lagasca, is an occupational therapist and entrepreneur in Houston, Texas. While pursuing her doctorate degree, she was able to conduct a study with persons diagnosed with Parkinson's disease using cognitive mapping and motivational interviewing to help clinicians provide more person-centered care. Her research was a poster presentation at the World Parkinson's Congress in Barcelona, Spain this last year, and a workshop presentation at the National Association of Occupational Therapists Conference last April. In addition to her work with the Houston area Parkinson's
Okay.
community, her inspiration comes from being an advocate, cheerleader, and caregiver to her father, who has been battling Parkinson's disease for the last decade. Let's get started.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you this morning and excited to be with this community in general. And again, this is the first of a four-part series. So I just wanted to invite you to grab your cup of coffee or whatever you have that'll keep you comfortable for the next hour. This is a conversation, and I'll invite people to participate in the chat. We'll also be practicing some of the things I talk about today. So be ready to, stand up if you feel comfortable or do things seated. But throughout the presentation, I won't be the only one talking. I'll be actually inviting you to participate. So just to start, this picture is actually taken in Barcelona when I got to go to the World Parkinson's Conference, and I'm just excited to be here. So I wanted to share this photo and some background before I begin. So as Suzanne said, I'm an occupational therapist. I've worked with older adults. I love working with older adults in home and one-on-one treatment, but I've definitely have experience with residential care out in California. And actually, I ran a day program for almost 15 years. It was what my life work was. It's called Enjoy Life. And Enjoy Life is kind of my mission in life, is helping others figure out how to enjoy their life and get back to doing things they really want to do. And so the heart of my work and my research, as Suzanne shared, was really working with people who had Parkinson's disease. But my dad was at the center of that when I was going through my research and trying to just hear his voice in my head all the time. I would hear his stories about how medical professionals may not fully understand what he's trying to say or do. He would get frustrated when he didn't feel heard. And so all of my research was conducting a study to just help medical professionals learn about their patients through their stories and how the power of storytelling can be so critical to helping us make meaningful goals in working in treatment. So anyways, I think I saw my mom and dad. Hi, how are you guys? Glad you could join us. So I wanted to also go into talking about occupational therapy a bit, because I feel like a lot of people think of the word occupational as relating to like a job potentially, but it's really simple. Occupation is really activity. So our goal, occupational therapy, is achieving health, well-being, and participation in life through engagement in activity or occupation. My approach, and most occupational therapists love looking at a holistic approach where it's involving meaningful activities, looking at your social and home environment. What are your habits, your routines, your roles, your skills, and your value, beliefs, and spirituality. And when I work with patients one-on-one, when I'm in their home, I gather so much of that information and I try to incorporate that into treatment because that's what's meaningful to you. I may try to get someone to do an exercise, he doesn't want to exercise, but I saw there's a basketball hoop outside. So I'm like, let's go play basketball. Meanwhile, he doesn't know I'm doing all the exercises I've been trying to get him to do. So I'm looking all the time at how and what that person is invested in and what's important to them. And I have to explain this picture. My approach to occupational therapy, it's allowed me to be really creative. So this picture is kind of a metaphor for how I approach each of my treatment sessions or when I work with people. My husband said, can we please have a ping pong table? And I said, that's impossible. There's no space in our house. There's no way we're going to have a ping pong table. And in his resourcefulness, he set this up. And so it was for my dad and his grandson, my son, to be able to play ping pong. But I think that's how I approach occupational therapy is when someone says or feels like something's impossible, it's on our part to make sure that we show them how it is possible and for me to be creative in figuring and looking at things outside of the box. So I get really excited just being creative, and occupational therapy lets me do that. So our goals for today is to develop strategies to overcome fatigue and promote health and safety. I feel like fatigue and just being tired with this Parkinson's diagnosis is so prevalent with so many people. So I'm also interested to hear from you, what are your strategies in combating fatigue? But also I want to talk about identifying ways to make just those daily living tasks like getting out of bed and getting dressed, getting breakfast, all those small things we have to do in our morning routine. I want to try to figure out how to overcome and make those easier so that we can actually get to the thing we really want to do, like ballroom dancing or going golfing or going out for lunch, all the things that are way more important. So that'll be in future sessions for sure. So I wanted to put a disclaimer out there. I want you to always, with anything I present today, consult your medical care team, your doctor, because it's super important. I don't get to know each and every person's specific situation. I also don't know where in the stage of Parkinson's you are, but I do recognize there's so many similarities. So I'm attempting to open the conversation about this and bring awareness. Maybe something you've heard before, but today maybe, oh, I forgot about that. And I hopefully am reminding you. So in no way am I endorsing any of these products. I don't make any money off of anything I present. It's simply to give you some food for thought and ideas of what you may want to incorporate into your daily routine. So I love talking about energy conservation because, again, we talked about how prevalent fatigue can be with Parkinson's. So I like to think of combating Parkinson's with the 4 Ps. So prioritizing, planning, pacing, and positioning. And what I mean by that is when you're looking at your day, how are you prioritizing what you're doing? I like to look at my energy as like this bucket full of water. And if I don't prioritize, I'm like dripping water everywhere and all my energy is getting sucked out of me so quickly, so fast. So the goal would be that only one hole is in that bucket at it. And that one hole is the main thing I get done that day. So when you prioritize trying to do that very important thing first, when you have all your energy, so that the rest of the day, if you can't do anything else, at least that important thing happened first. So, okay, so prioritizing, my first P. My second P is planning. So planning involves a lot. But I'm trying to encourage you to avoid extra anything. So extra trips, extra effort. So that means gathering supplies beforehand, alternating what we call heavy and light tasks. So oftentimes heavy tasks aren't just like physically heavy and like physically difficult tasks, but I'm also talking about mentally, like heavy tasks. So is this going to be emotional to talk about this thing, or is this going to require a lot of my brain energy? And can you alternate that with light tasks so you're not doing all these heavy tasks in one day? Also balancing activities throughout the week. So I have here a picture of a calendar, and I oftentimes have, and I work with my dad too and other patients, like just put it all out on the calendar, and almost that visual tells you like, wait a second, I can't do these things in the same day, or I can't schedule more over there. My next bullet point, having a good rest each night, that involves looking at that calendar and going, okay, I got to get up extra early tomorrow morning to make that appointment, or I need to give myself extra time because I know how California traffic is, like it's always just planning ahead. And then obviously permission to ask for help and how can you delegate so you can not have to do this all on your own. The other is pacing. So I love looking at how are we pacing ourselves throughout the day? Are you listening to your body and do you know its limits? So sometimes it's easy. I'm a mom of two. I like rush and really hurry. And then before I know it, I haven't even eaten lunch, And so just really listening to your body. And sometimes I'm hunger pains, and that's how I understand that I need to stop and take a break and eat. So how are we listening to our body and how are we maintaining a slow and steady pace? Also, resting before you get tired. So I often encourage having a lot of rest breaks, giving yourself that time to rest, recognizing, oh, I did not rest at all. And not letting your body get overtired before it happens. Again, asking for help. The next bullet point I put was avoiding holding your breath. I'm that person that if you teach me a new thing, I don't realize it and I'm holding my breath. So really being conscious that practicing breathing slow and steady is so important. And I like practicing this thing called pursed lip breathing. So I put a picture here, but I wanted to see if I could get us to practice pursed lip breathing. The way and the easy way I like to because I don't know about your morning, but my morning was pretty busy already preparing for this, getting the kids ready for school. So speaking of rest, maybe we can all take a rest right now and practice breathing. So what I'd like to say, there's a diagram right here saying inhale slowly through your nose, purse your lips as you would to whistle, and then exhale slowly out. So the way that looks when I do it, I like to tell my patients, smell the roses, closing your mouth and blowing the candles out. So if you could practice that with me again, smell the roses, blow out the candles. Smell the roses, blow out the candles. Smell the roses, blow out the candles. And just giving yourself that immediate energy and oxygen and releasing that carbon dioxide so there's more space for more oxygen. So it's really important. That's an instant way you can get instant energy when you find yourself either short of breath or having difficulty or feeling anxiety or rushing through the day. This is how we slow our body and our so do I have any questions so far? Are we doing okay? You can continue to hear me all right? Good. Okay.
You're doing
So
great.
thanks, Suzanne. So my third P is position. So oftentimes, and you'll see this throughout the presentation, but if at all possible, let's avoid bending and reaching. We actually lose a lot of energy by doing that. And we also can cause falling, which we want to prevent. Similarly, sitting as much as possible can help reduce up to almost 25% of your energy. And so when you're preparing a meal or you're on the phone, like being able to sit, it's important, especially because of Parkinson's, where our body's constantly trying to heal with whatever, treatment or medication we're going through, or especially if you had an injury, your body's using up all that reserve energy. And so by being able to sit, you're actually building up that reserve. It's also important positioning wise to maintain upright posture when sitting and standing. So with Parkinson's, we tend to have that, it's not tech neck, but it's similar to tech neck where we're leaning forward and our body's almost curling in. Right now, let's make sure we're sitting up straight and our shoulders are back and we're opening up that chest. So that's extremely important, especially with Parkinson's, because we don't want to keep promoting that forward internal posture. I thought this was a really good visual to kind of illustrate that. So if you look at this diagram here, the human head usually weighs about 12 pounds. So in normal posture, when your spine is fully aligned, your head weighs 12 pounds. Now, if you inch your head 2 inches forward, your head now is weighing 32 pounds. That's almost triple. That's more than double the weight it should have been had it been aligned with your spine. One more inch forward, now you're at 42 pounds heavy on your spine and your head. And pretty soon you'll be looking down because that posture is moving forward. So now we had this overarching theme of energy conservation. Now I just want to touch real quickly on fall prevention. According to the CDC, there's about a third of adults over 65 who fall each year, and 24% of those end up resulting in lacerations, hip fractures, and head traumas, which is really unfortunate because people with Parkinson's are up to 5 times more likely to fall. And so knowing that, I felt like positioning, pacing, all the things I just talked about, those 4 Ps are going to be really critical in helping this fall prevention. In fact, it's a vicious cycle because if you've fallen, you start to have this fear of falling again. And then it goes into this cycle of decreased activity, musculoskeletal issues, gait issues, an increased fall risk now. And then you likely could fall again if nothing's changing or nothing's remedied. So we really want to work on prevention as much as possible. And those 4 Ps for energy conservation, that's going to help you to prevent these falls. Okay, before I start this next video, I wanted to see if you have an opportunity I'd love for you to participate. This is my friend over at Power for Parkinson's. I worked a long time with them as I was getting my research done in a doctorate, but they have amazing exercise videos. If you want exercise at home or you want cognitive exercises, they actually have a playlist for fall prevention. And so this is one of her videos. But if you have the opportunity to stand up, she'll actually prompt us to stand up and do some like body awareness exercises and breathing. And we'll only do that part. The rest of the video, I'll let you again watch at your leisure, but I wanted to maybe get us involved in participating with this particular part of the exercise. So let me go ahead and play that.
Today's class is designed to enhance your balance and stability for people with Parkinson's. So we're going to get started. You want to make sure you've got a chair that you can hold on to for balance and keep your hip in line with the chair, holding on as needed. Let's start with our feet together, our shoulders down and back, belly in, working on our balance. Take a deep breath in, inhale, stretch tall, and exhale down. Feet apart, hip width apart, lining up your ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. Zip up your pants. By doing that, you're going to pull your abdominals in, your abs are engaged, shoulders are down and back, chin is back slightly, concentrating on our posture. And now we're just going to stand here with our shoulders down and back, our abs in, working on our balance. So take some nice deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through your mouth. Your hips are neutral, your abs are engaged. All right, to improve on that,
so I'm going to play that one more time because I know a lot of people needed some help or some time to get up. So let's practice that one more time with her. If you want to and you didn't get a chance to, we'll do that one more time.
Keep your hip in line with the chair, holding on as needed. Let's start with our feet together, our shoulders down and back, belly in, working on our balance. Take a deep breath in, inhale, stretch tall, and exhale down. Feet apart, hip width apart, lining up your ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. Zip up your pants. By doing that, you're going to pull your abdominals in, your abs are engaged, shoulders are down and back, chin is back slightly, concentrating on our posture. And now we're just going to stand here with our shoulders down and back, our abs in, working on our balance. So take some nice deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through your mouth. Your hips are neutral, your abs are engaged. All right.
Okay, great. Okay. How did that feel, just standing up and breathing? I don't think I think about all those things when I'm standing up or in my breathing mode, but that's a really powerful way, just how she was trying to make us conscious of all our joints, how to align ourselves and maintain that upright posture. So I want to encourage you to take the time again to breathe and to take breathing slowly, making sure your spine is in line and that we're doing that ugly double chin. So, okay, let's see. All right, so I wanted to invite in the chat. These are the categories we're going to be going over. Which one is the most challenging for you? Getting in and out of bed, bathing, toileting, eating and meal preparation, dressing, or grooming? So I'm just curious, give you some time if you're able to participate in the chat. Which one's difficult? Getting in and out of bed, bathing, toileting, eating, meal prep, dressing, or grooming? The most challenging. And for those of you who don't have any issues with any of this, congratulations. You figured out some strategy that works, and we'd love to hear from you in the chat. So please participate. But these are the categories. So it's kind of pretty even across the board. There's no like one, like everyone is having issues with a particular thing. So, okay, but keep
Nancy says they all
participating.
take turns.
Yeah,
So,
right.
okay.
It depends on the day, right?
Yes.
Depends on how my meds are working.
DW says it's about finding the right sheet blanket cover that's warm enough but not too heavy or confusing. Meal prep, bathing, and eating. Yes. Meal prep. It's kind of
Okay.
just things that we need to do to get along in life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that said, I wanted to talk about bed mobility to start out. So I like this acronym. I call it CLAPP. So CLAPP is clutter, lighting, area, position, and pace. So when you're doing any of these activities, for example, bed mobility now, we're talking about, is there clutter around the bed? Oftentimes when you're getting up in the morning or you're going to bed at night, there's maybe not enough lighting for you to see, and then you need to get up in the middle of the night from the bed. That could be a fall risk. Assessing the area. Is there anything in my pathway from point A to B when I go to the bathroom? Do I have enough lighting going from my bed to my bathroom? Is there something I have to climb over or trip over, potentially could trip over to get to the bathroom? And then a lot about positioning. Again, it's that upright posture. But one thing to note is when you're in bed too long, like several hours, I don't know about you, but my body's stiff getting up in the morning. A lot of us are stiff. So we need to prime those joints. And by doing small exercises and warming up our body before we get up out of bed is really important. I always say motion is lotion, and we need to lubricate our joints. So trying to do some things before you even step up from that bed is really critical so that like your legs or your knees don't give out. Your leg might be falling asleep. So just being mindful of that when we think about position. And then again, pace, trying not to roll out of bed too fast, giving yourself enough time. Make sure you're breathing when you're getting up out of bed and that you're not getting up too fast and causing lightheadedness or dizziness potentially. I have this girl here in silk pajamas because I actually live in Texas, but I grew up in Southern California. So my parents are still there. I visit them very often. And it was funny because one day I was staying at their house and one day I see my dad walking out in silk pajamas. And I was like, wow, Dad, so fancy, you know? And he actually said, no, this is functional. And I come to find out, I thought it was just him wearing silk pajamas. I went to the World Parkinson's Congress and there were so many vendors there for silk pajamas and silk blankets and stuff. So I don't know that silk pajamas or silk blankets are the solution for you. But as someone said earlier, trying different types of sheets and blankets that may or may not provide enough traction or may be slick enough for you to get out of bed a lot easier. Again, that's an energy conservation technique because now you're not needing to push yourself out of bed. I've also heard that some people, they slide out of bed too fast. So you want to make sure, again, to try out these things and see what's right for you. The other picture I have here is when I go into a home, I often try not to ask the person to buy all this equipment that I'm about to show you. I try to look at just the furniture they already have. And sometimes, several times actually, it really is just about rearranging their furniture and putting something like this heavy bedside table right next to their bed so that they have something really sturdy to push up off from. So they're oftentimes pushing off from the bed that's soft and a cushion and slipping off. But if you have something sturdy like a bedside table like this that is high enough for you, you can push off from that surface and have something more stable when you try to get up. I have a friend, I'm currently working with Houston area Parkinson's. I'm an instructor with them. She did a great video on just trying to get in and out of bed and some exercises you could do with that. So I'm going to go ahead and play this real quickly. Let's see, let me cue it up to you. And these are exercises you could do, obviously at home. I'm not going to ask you to do them right now, but I wanted to make sure that you had a point of reference about what I'm talking about. So she walks through it pretty well just watching her. So
here we go. Feet come up, head goes down, big roll onto your back, roll, feet come off, push up, push, push, and you're there. Knees should still be back. If you've started to fall or lean, slip off the edge of the bed, push those hips back. This shimmy is an excellent workout on its own too. I'm gonna do that whole thing again. Here I go. Down to the side, feet come up, and big roll to my back, and reach across my body, roll over. Feet come off together, push, 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 push up to sit.
an occupational therapist would come in your home, see how your bed situation is, and potentially go through this kind of routine with you if you needed that. Just wanted to put that out there. Now, some of you may already have some of this, but there are options out there as well. If you can't have that sturdy bedside table to push off of, there are bed canes. These just came off of Amazon. This one's like a bar, but if you don't like not having this room to get out, there's a bar that stands like a single bar to lift out of and up and out of your bed. And then there's a bed ladder that actually attaches to the bottom or the foot of your bed, and just is another way to kind of pull yourself up if you have upper body strength and are able to do so. So it just gives you another option potentially to get out of bed. So again, my acronym CLAPP. When we talk about bathing, grooming, and toileting, it's clearing the clutter. So any trip hazards, I mean, I love a walk-in shower if you can have that versus stepping over a lip of a tub or something like that. Always thinking of flooring. What kind of flooring's in your house? And not just what kind of flooring, but when it gets wet, what kind of flooring do you have? And so what can we do to make your floor less slippery? Also thinking about the footwear you're using. Are you using footwear in the shower that makes it slicker or more slippery? And you want to just avoid anything that would cause a trip hazard or cause you to fall, obviously. So clearing the clutter, and then again, lighting, because we're going to the bathroom in the middle of the night and we might not see everything in its way. We're assessing the area. We're thinking about our position. So even when you're brushing your teeth in the bathroom, can you close the top of the toilet and sit down while you're brushing your teeth? At that point, you're conserving energy. Can you also sit down while you're taking a shower? In fact, if you're taking a hot shower, I don't know if many of you know, but you're actually expending more energy as you're sweating during that hot shower. So maybe taking lukewarm showers and being seated is really important. And if that's an option for you, that's another easy way to conserve energy, is being seated and not having such hot of a shower that it causes you to sweat. So some equipment, you probably have seen some of this, but if you don't have a grab bar. Yes, Suzanne.
I was just curious. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I was just curious, Mary Grace, for when you talked about tripping as well as slipping, it almost seems a little contradictory in how we prevent those things, because what do you think about slip-proof mats and slip-proof treads on the bottom of the shower?
Absolutely still promote those. I think those are great. I think their intention is to build that traction that we want, right? So it's better to have that than not at all, in my opinion, because again, if it builds the traction and makes it less slippery, that's the point of those things, that's okay. But I'll show in my next slide. I actually appreciate you bringing that up. I'll show my next slide. An option? No, it's great. It's an option that I definitely want to, like, options I'd probably promote more and I've used with patients. So in this case, when we talk about toileting real quickly, you've probably seen this. If you haven't, you probably didn't need it, but there is an option to have bars if you don't want to install one into your wall by simply adding this device to your toilet, or a raised toilet seat. So if you can't bend down as far down, and then it gives you those kind of armrests or handlebars to push up and again, be safer and to pace yourself when you're getting up. And then for those who have limited range of motion, there's actually an assistive device to help you when you need to actually reach back there. And so it puts the toilet paper on the end of the assistive device and allows you to reach. And then, as Suzanne brought up, which I appreciate, again, here's that shower chair you probably all have seen. But, you know, some grooming tools can also, the ones you have, you might just need to add a handle so that you don't slip when you're holding it. Or if you don't have weak grip, you could add some of these very inexpensive foam grips that you can buy online in bulk, and then you just cut them to attach to anything you have. I also like using long-handled things, and it's a preference, right? So long-handled, like sponges like this, or handheld showers. If you have that strength and energy and grip, the idea there is to limit you from bending down in a shower while standing, bending down to reach something because you're expending more energy. But some people don't even like holding things because they can't control the shower head. So then maybe, you know, you don't use this, but this is an option out there for you. And then, as Suzanne brought up, I really look for these really like more, this is actually a rubber mat. It's decorative, but it's also functional. I wish it was a different color so there's more contrast visually, because as you can see, there's a little bit of a step here. I think when they designed it, maybe they wanted it to blend in, but I like that instead of a shower mat, you have something that really sticks to the floor. So you're not tripping over it, and it's very flat, but you're not on that slippery tile covered in water, bringing all that water out to the bathroom surface. And then there are those stickers that you could apply easily inside of a shower that aren't too, you know, intrusive or difficult to clean. And you could also, if they get messy, you could pick them, you know, scrape them back up and put new stickers on. So I feel like they're very affordable as well. Dressing, again, when we talk about dressing, here's CLAPP, clearing the clutter, the lighting, the area, the positioning when you're dressing up. Try to bring clothes within reach. I'm always looking at their closet if they have enough lighting in there, and bringing clothes down rather than them having to reach or bend down to pick things up. Trying to sit while you're dressing, because when you're maneuvering your clothes and putting your jacket on, that could be an opportunity to fall. So here's some equipment, again, that you could consider. There's a dressing stick that helps with your limited range of motion to bring your jacket around. There's several types of shoe horns out there. So again, it limits your needing to bend down to possibly fall or expend more energy when you're doing that. There are several sock aids. I have patients who don't even wear compression socks. I'm like, you need to wear compression socks. And there's this one right over here that helps to put on compression socks, because those things are so hard to put on. And then Kizik, and I know a lot of brands now, Skechers, they have these slip-on shoes. So that's something to consider, so you don't, again, have to bend down. And then the button hook. This button hook is a really inexpensive device. If you're able to hold that built-up handle, it helps you to pull buttons through, or use the other hook to zip up and zip down more easily in your jackets or other you know, zippers in your clothing. And then a reacher, again, so that you're not reaching for your shoes and bending over and falling, or reaching up in your closet to get something. I really like the reacher. It's so handy. So I have another video. I'm gonna, for interest of time, just allow you guys to see a little bit of it, but the girls do a great job at Power for Parkinson's, again, trying to show you how to use something like a dressing stick. So let's see.
So
Go ahead and
I have
cue
my
this
shoe
real
here.
quickly too.
To use it is I like to
Here's her
help people
dressing stick.
get undressed from the lower body. This can also be used for upper body dressing, which Alexis will show you next. So what I like to tell people is to take the small hook right here and hook it to your pants, just like that. And you're gonna use it to pull down, right? Then you take it on the other side, hook it to the side, pull down. And it helps bring your pants all the way down. That way you're not leaning forward, which could cause you to fall, and we don't want that.
Alrighty, so for upper body dressing, I got a jacket here for a demonstration. Typically, you mind holding this real quick? We're gonna get the jacket halfway on, and I'm gonna thread it through, make sure it's over my shoulder. Now, instead, if I didn't have the range of motion to reach back there, and I would be having a really hard time, I can use a dressing stick and kind of use it back there to kind of hook onto the sleeve or the jacket itself and bring it over my shoulder. So now that it's here in front of me, I don't have to reach behind me, I can just pull and thread my arm through. Alrighty.
And they go through all the assistive adaptive devices that I just showed you for dressing. So that's a really good video if you want to reference that again on your own time. Okay, so PCLA did a great blog article about a year ago on different adaptive clothing. So I listed some of the websites here, but I love these labels, especially Able Label and Magna Ready. So Magna Ready has obviously magnets in all of their clothing instead of Velcro. So they're hidden magnets like this one on this man's shirt. They're also, both companies have a magnetic zipper so that you don't have to maneuver the zipper to start the zipper. It just comes together and then is easy to zip up. I love this magnetic belt because you don't, especially if you're rushing to use a restroom or something, you're not trying to open the clasp and unhook the thing and pull it all out. You just open the magnet and there you go. And it looks just like a normal belt. And then I just really appreciated this option up here. This is a cargo short, but if you're in a wheelchair, it has the cargo pockets in front. So you can actually use your cargo pockets and it is really accessible. It's a elastic waistband. And I was impressed with all of these brands, how they're coming along and being attractive. So this gal down here, this trench coat is actually all magnets as well, and these pants. So here's some other really good brands. Silverts, they do a really good job of like these undergarments for women, bras. They're actually Velcro and they only require one clasp. And then they have some really attractive slippers that, again, when you're in the shower at home, like these maybe are better for obviously around the house, but it has that traction at the bottom and they're easy to put on and off with the Velcro. They're also these socks. Joe and Bella has these very attractive socks that you and I probably would wear, unlike the hospital socks that we tend to see with the anti-slip at the bottom. These are also, they have that traction on the bottom, but they're socks that we would like to wear probably. And then there's some Velcro and elastic around waistbands that, again, just make it easier when you're in the restroom. So with eating and meal prep, we're moving on again to CLAPP. So thinking of clearing the clutter so you know exactly what you're using when you're prepping a meal, having the appropriate lighting, checking your area, positioning. I just want to remind you of maintaining upright posture when you're doing dishes, when you're at the stove. Or you could choose to sit and have a stool next to the sink when you're washing your dishes or drying them, or just even air dry them. Don't hand dry them, so you're conserving energy. Or sitting at a dining table. I really love promoting sit to stand as much as possible, but doing it the safe way. So when you're sitting at a kitchen table, remember always to sit close to the table. I'm constantly pushing people closer to the table to eat and sitting. There's always only one dining room chair that tends to have the armrest. Sit at that dining room chair. Use the armrest because that's going to help you, again, conserve energy, be able to slow your pace, nose over toes when you're bending forward and getting up out of the chair. So you be the one at the head of the table with the armrests. So Maggie does a really good sit to stand video. She actually invites you to sing with her. I'll show just the very beginning because I think we have a few minutes. So hopefully you can hear that okay. And you're welcome to try to do it with her if you want.
Sing and move with the same kind of volume. So the louder we get, the bigger our movement gets. This is what it looks like. My body lies over the ocean. My body lies over the sea. My body lies over the ocean. So bring back my Bonnie to me. If you just need the practice to stand up, then get that my Bonnie rocking. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. Big now. My Bonnie lies over the sea. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. So bring back my Bonnie to me. The end's weird. Figure out whatever works.
I really like that video. Maybe in the next sessions, we can do more of these physical things, and I'll preemptively let you know, have this equipment ready or have this chair ready, but I'd really like to practice more of these in one of our future sessions. So with meal prep, I wanted to go over real quickly before I end. A lot of different equipment are available to you. A lot of them are on Amazon. So if it doesn't work for you, go ahead and return it and get something that does. But there are these rocker knives, which are one-handed ways to cut food if you have one more dominant or stronger hand than the other. Or you can add different things to your cup. Some people with tremors like heavier cups. Some people like lighter cups, and that conserves energy. So think about your plates and your cups. Is it too heavy? Is it too light? And be willing to modify. I love Silverts because they actually have this attractive scarf. I don't know anybody that likes wearing an adult bib or anything that looks like that at a restaurant. And so this just looks like a scarf. It's attractive and washable. So look on Silverts and you can see some really good options there. I also wanted to introduce some things that you've already known about, but maybe you're not using them, which is another energy conservation technique is to just allow the machine to do the work for you. So automatic can openers, or there's a device like this that opens those really tricky loops on the soda to open it, or these little cans for a cat or your tuna food or anything like that. Those are hard to open if you have difficulty with your fine motor skills. So go ahead and get one of those. And then obviously these are so obvious, but they actually help you to open things easier. And that's another energy conservation technique, the little rubber can openers or bottle openers. There's so many spoons on the market. Here are just a few of them. Some are way more expensive than others. This Parkinson spoon actually works as a counterweight. It's very expensive actually, but it allows you to not lose your food on the spoon. Or this bent spoon down here, most of these spoons will bend, and that's because there's limited range of motion in your wrist turn, and so it just allows you to scoop the thing and bring it to your mouth without having to turn it internally like that. There's also options like we've seen, potentially like this weighted spoon here. The average spoon weighs about 1/8 of an ounce. These go up to almost 8, sometimes 12 ounces. And what it has is washers inside. So you take out how many washers you need. So if you don't need it to be that heavy right now, you don't need it to be that heavy. You can modify it, but later on you might, as your Parkinson's tremors progress and you need a heavier spoon, you can adjust it and add more washers into it. There's also this adaptive steady spoon. So what this does is it's a spoon, the part that has the food, if you bend or move like this, it'll still stay steady and in this upright position so you don't lose the food in bringing it to your mouth. And then just because sometimes our grip is weak, there are these built up handles on spoons and the foam that I've talked about with the grooming. And then some inexpensive things on the market are these spill-proof scoop up suction cup type plates that you can use with one hand to scoop up food, so you're not using two hands or needing to use two hands. There's Dicem right here. That's the material underneath. It comes in rolls. You can cut it and put it under plates. If you like your plates, this helps it to not slip. Or if you like your current set, you can just buy one of these plastic guards that slip on and does the same thing and allows you to scoop the food on one side and not lose the food. So all that to say, for the next future sessions, this is what my vision, and I'd love feedback after this if there's other topics we'd like to talk about, but we talked a lot about starting your day, so the next session is going to focus on ending your day. So we'll talk about sleep, journaling, breathing, mindfulness and grounding, stress relief and exercise, and then I need to get to the really good stuff, which is how do we keep enjoying life? So what are the communication devices out there? How can we engage in more recreation and leisure? What are the socialization strategies out there to get connected with people? How can I continue to travel? Can I travel with Parkinson's? And then also for those of us that are still working, what are you needing, or what are some strategies out there to keep working and maintain a work day? And in conclusion, my goal is to keep you guys active and independent. Hopefully you've gained some awareness and prevention strategies today with the education I provided. And my heart is always to promote quality of life. So when I approach any of these sessions moving forward and in my therapy, I brought this picture of my daughter. She was so bummed out. I feel like the rainy day is so like a metaphor for Parkinson sometimes. So she's so bummed out. She's like, oh man, I can't play in the playground, all that stuff. And it was me who was able to bring the umbrella, bring the equipment, and give her permission to just jump in the puddles and enjoy her life and enjoy that moment and embrace the rainy day, right? Because Parkinson's doesn't go away. So how is our approach? Our approach is hopefully to be my daughter here and just, embrace that moment however we can, hopefully with the right equipment. And I'm giving you permission. So my dad gave me permission to talk to him about him in this video. I'm open for question and answers, but before I continue, I just wanted to acknowledge this hill was in Austin. We were at the bottom. He was very doubtful and tired that we could make it up, but he made it. So we made it through the presentation. We're going to make it, everyone. I'm so convinced of that. I'm here to support you. If you have any questions, here's my email. I'm definitely an advocate, a lifelong advocate, a care partner, aside from being an occupational therapist and a coach. So if I could be of service, let me know.
Wow, I want to extend a big thank you to Dr. Lagasca. That was so wonderful. We're going to move into the questions now. Participants can either submit their questions through the chat or raise your hands if you have the response button there. I saw one person had a question on how to find out who makes home visits for like home evaluations.
Hey,
Maybe we could
it's
start with
usually,
that.
yeah, absolutely. It's usually, let me just stop sharing so I can see faces. It's usually through your primary care physician. You can ask them to give you a referral. I know different states are different, but I was asking my OT colleagues in California, and if any of them are online, I encourage them. But I'll find out if it's different. But as I understand it, you usually get a referral from your primary care physician. Parkinson's diagnosis itself, or even the fall risk, could likely just be enough to get that referral. Yeah, I'm ready for any other questions if there are.
Mary
I-
Grace, I have a question from someone who wasn't able to join us today, from Donna Flint. And she said, and I'm not sure if this is something you can answer, I continue to walk drunkenly, even if I'm on my meds. I am exercising, but it does not seem to help.
I mean, there's so many more questions I have
Okay.
I would want to ask
Sorry.
her. Yeah, no. And that's so unfortunate, but that happens so often. I know when I talk to patients, especially, the meds aren't enough and the exercise isn't enough. And so, I personally would ask her about her sleep, again, how is she resting, where is she, there's a whole slew of evaluation questions I'd ask her if I was working with her because it's hard to answer. But I would encourage her to initiate occupational therapy because outside of just doing exercise, there are likely other things that an occupational therapist and a physical therapist could maybe recommend to help support her in that. But they would go through a thorough evaluation with a lot more questions on that. So,
Sounds good.
yeah.
Thank you all for joining us today. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, I want to share about that.
Oh, there's my dad. Hi, Dad.
You mentioned about somebody who's not the medication or the exercise and all the things that he's doing is not enough.
Mhm.
There was a question about the doctor, a neurologist, making mention of it. Maybe you're constipated. The first thing they need to check on you is if you're constipated. Because if you're constipated, the medication will not work. So you
That's a
have
great
to
point.
you have a regular bowel movement because it just he said that constipation normally doesn't. I think it stops the medication from working if it's not regular in your bowel movement. And also, it's very important that you follow the instruction on how to take the medication. Sometimes you have to take it 30 minutes before your lunch or dinner, or one and a half hour after you take the medication. Otherwise, I've tested it already. It doesn't work actually. And I found out that when I was constipated, that most of the time my medication, I thought it's not working. My quality of life is really bad, and I really sometimes I struggle about it. Well, it's just a matter of examining or analyzing what you're taking and what you're doing. The doctor can help you on that and see where you're missing it. That's why it's not working. And also, when you exercise, they say that you have to stretch out yourself, not just exercise. Not normal exercise doesn't help sometimes. You have to go beyond your limit. Sometimes you have to push yourself to exercise more. The people that are successful in slowing down the progression of Parkinson is the people that do sacrifice in doing more exercise, aggressive in the medication, aggressive in the nutrition. A lot of things that you can do for yourself to stop or slow down the progression. Not just doing a normal thing, doing taking medication normally and then exercising in a normal pace. If you really want to improve, you exert your effort, sacrifice, do something for yourself to make it sure that it's working. If it doesn't work, do some more. But keep on researching about how to improve that, because this Parkinson's disease is it's very relentless. I struggled every day of my life. Every day that I wake up, I'm tired of pretending to people. Sometimes I go to a party and I stop doing. Before I do something, I have to look around and see if they're looking for me, because when they're looking at you, I have to just getting up of my chair. Sometimes I fall, and I don't want them to see that. So I try to pretend that I'm really good, but sometimes that it's really hard for us as with Parkinson. And I really appreciate those people who are still trying to give us resources and how to improve ourselves. Very important to me. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Dad. And that's a great point. I'm selfishly here doing this presentation too, because I want to learn from all of you as I'm a care partner, and my dad, I'm partnering with him to battle all of this. So thanks for being transparent, Dad, and sharing that, because who's better going to know how to answer some of these questions than you all? So I want to invite that conversation to continue as we move forward. And my poor dad, he has an occupational therapist for a daughter and a nurse, my mom you saw earlier. So he gets all kinds of medical advice from us personally, but and yet he's trying to live as independent from us as possible. So the fight is real and the struggle is real, but yeah, he is amazing. He's my inspiration. And I want to encourage you, you will, as I understand it, I think Natalie or Mariah, they will get a copy of this in their email, the link, or I believe this video will be on YouTube moving forward. And we will continue the next 3 series in November and then in the new year. So please log on. Please bring your questions. Again, it's an ongoing conversation. I'm excited to facilitate and be part of, and I will bring more information as your questions come. So I saw a question about how else can we overcome fatigue? Like my dad was bringing up, well, maybe there are other things that need to be checked out, but there are some general things we can maybe practice and do as well. So with that, I want to be cognizant of time. Thank you all for taking the time to be with us today, and I'm so honored to be connected with you for this last hour. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, and thank you all for joining us today. If you enjoyed today's program, we invite you to visit PCLA.org and explore our programs, meet our groups, and of course, make your donation. Your support helps us to continue our mission to improve the lives of families in our community affected by Parkinson's disease. For more information, just go to PCLA.org. It's a nonprofit organization and all donations are tax deductible. Thank you so much for helping us to make a difference. And don't forget to please join us for part 2 of our Moving Forward series with Dr. Lagasca. A link to register for this event, as well as updates for all of our programs, will be sent out through email. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful day.